Hello and welcome to issue 34 of the Hobby Hammer cast. I'm joined as ever by Miles. Or I suppose Miles is joined by me. Hello, me.
Yeah, I guess it's hosted on my channel. Yeah. But so the reason why Max does the introductions, I always mess them up. Or like we go into it, we do like 3 or 4 records, and Max just says, "Oh, I'm just going to do it." So that's the reason why he introduces me on my own channel. Yeah, I guess you're like my chauffeur, my digital equivalent of chauffeur. I'm too rich to drive anywhere myself.
Have you been pumping and dumping NFTs to get so rich?
Well, you say this. So before the show, me and Max were concocting our new business venture of Warhammer themed cryptocurrency. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Watch for the stock.
It's not a pyramid. It's a trapezoid. Very different business model.
Yeah. Well, that's yeah. I think we'll move on from there. If anyone wants to know what I've been watching this week, it's CoffeeZilla. So that is how this has come up. But,
yes. Yeah. Love that, guys. Yeah, everything I know about the financial institutions and the crises we've gone through in the past 10 years is through that guy. Well, in fact, you know what? Stop watching this and go over to that guy. It's far more informative. It's far more enriching. Just stop this right now. Stop this nonsense. Go over there and watch his channel.
Yeah, so that's what we've been watching. What has Games Workshop been doing this week, Miles?
Sweet FA by the looks of it, with no Heresy Thursday yet again. What's happening here?
Yeah, so, right, they've just taken down all of a load of the Forge World kits, right? Do we reckon it's a sign of Heresy 3 coming? Rather than it being like a negative of like, oh my god, all these kits are dead forever. Is it redos in the new scale for Heresy 3 or something?
And they repackage it. Okay, I mean, let's do a bit of speculation, right? Because that's all we have to go on right now because we don't have good, hard data. And with the lack of good, hard, authoritative data, we can speculate Alex Jones style in the gap. So yeah, Heresy 3, I'm hearing more and more like background noise of Heresy 3 from people like Valrak and I think Heresy Hammer did a show on the new rumors coming up. And you're just hearing a lot of like background noise on this stuff. So what have you heard about Heresy 3.0? What's coming up?
Well, do you know what? I've not watched the Heresy Hammer show on it, so I am going to go and watch that after this.
It was a few months ago now, so
it may have been updated and out of date.
Yeah,
I've just watched the Valrak stuff where he's like talking about Saturnine Terminators, Istvan 3 and Mark 2s in a box.
What?
Or Istvan? No, he says Istvan 6. Istvan 5.
Istvan
5. Istvan 5. Christ, I said it wrong.
Isn't Istvan 6? No, you've heard it first.
Istvan 6.
It's like Istvan 5, but one better. Yeah,
that's how it works. The planets increase in number with the danger of the conflict.
It's the trilogy then. You have Istvan 3, Istvan 5.
Yeah.
And Istvan 6? Sorry, is it Istvan 3 or Istvan 2? Shit, what are the names of these planets?
Istvan 3 and Istvan 5.
Istvan 3, Istvan 5, Istvan 6. Okay, yeah, they're hidden. And that's where all the legions come. So you can play whatever legion you want. They're all there.
And the custodies are there, and the sisters are there.
Sister Sarah's, and the Emperor makes a brief appearance. And it's... Oh, what was the name of that world? Molech. It's Molech all over again. And the Emperor mind wipes them all. So, people only remember Istvan 3, Istvan 5. Let's backtrack a little. Did you just say Saturnine Terminators?
That is the rumor from Valrak. Like, we can... Obviously, it's taken with a pinch of salt.
Saturnine Terminators.
Saturnine is the rumor.
Oh, my God. We've had conversations like going on for a couple of years now. And we probably me belly aching like, oh, why can't we see X? Why can't it feels like in their range, in their line, there's a big gap. I mean, Saturnine Terminators feels like such an obvious model range. It's something that exists in the lore. We've seen art for it. We've even had like a brief description in one of the short stories. A heavy suit of Terminator armor with some really cool esoteric weaponry on top. Yeah, I've been dying to see the official version of Saturnine Terminator armor for absolute donkey's years.
Yeah.
I mean, will this be available to? I mean, how do you think they'll run? Like units of 3, like obliterators, maybe, or units of 5?
Do you know what? I've no idea. Surely, because Saturnines, there's the picture of them with like a. It's a visual medium. I'll get the picture. Right, so I pulled it up. This is a colorized version of the original black and white, where you've got like the bolter on top. You've still got the power claw, but like this rotor cannon as well. Surely it's like the heavy Terminators everyone went wild for, and as you said, like obliterators as well. Although they're in the lore in Slaves to Darkness, like as being coming from the Iron Warriors from a virus on Volk.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to be seeing them exactly like obliterators, but heavy Terminators that say like the Mournival and Varangian Heresy had rules for. And also the Melos rules pack. But so I think we're going to be seeing something like that. And yeah, maybe like 3s, 5s. A complete wild, stupid guess. That is based on nothing. I'd just like to say that.
So the reason why I say I think they're more likely to be running packs of 3 is because you have units of Cataphracti and other armor marks in 5 or 10 traditionally. So it'd be nice to like visually break them up. But I think they're going to be slightly larger than your regular Terminator. Saturnine. You know, JP really hates Saturnine Terminator armor. He's a big Saturnine armor denier.
Do you know what? They're not my absolute favourites. Because it may be when I got into the game, though I don't think it holds up for JP. I think he was around in like Slaves to Darkness.
Yeah, he was around during the time.
Chaos. Yeah, but they just look a bit derpy, where I know Terminators look derpy, but like in Cataphracti and Indomitors, they're just that next level of... Maybe I just need to let them mature on my palette after I see them.
No, you know what? The reason why I'm so not upset, like enthusiastic about Saturnine Terminator armor. When you're a kid, you're in Games Workshop. You have that big book, the Citadel. God, what the hell is it called? Like the Citadel
Journal?
Bits. You could order individual bits.
Yeah.
They have this big catalog of everything that they sold. And unfortunately, most of the stuff in there was unavailable to buy anymore. It was like old Rogue Trader stuff. And flicking to the Terminator page, and you're looking at the oldest types of Terminator armor, like Castigator armor and Saturnine Terminator armor. They just had that air of exoticism that this was something that was available in like a previous age. It must have, it's the equivalent of a Celt looking up at the viaducts and think, oh, giants made it.
Yeah,
it has that kind of mystery to it. Now, in the cold light of day, analyzing the original miniature and maybe analyzing the armor, it does look a bit like an egg on legs. But I'm hoping that the designers could do something with the proportionality of it to make it look cool.
I think maybe a more aggressive, like head feature to it would be what would do it for me. Do you know, like rather than it, because it looks kind of passive with its shoulders being so eggy, and then this head that's flush with the torso. Yeah. If it was more aggressive looking and foreboding looking, I could definitely get on board with it.
Just flicking on Google, there's a piece of armor by Greywall. I'm not going to put it up on the screen. Go and search it. Saturnine Terminator armor by Greywall. It has exactly that. It's a slightly more aggressive stance. He's not just standing there like for a photograph. He's moving forward. There is certainly a design opportunity to be explored. Yeah.
I want to see it, Miles. I want to see it.
You want to see it? Okay. Yeah. Saturnine Terminator armor by Greywall.
Greywall.
Yeah.
Cool. So we've got it. Is this? Yeah. Do you know what? I like that, and he's got a more angular, like grill to the face.
Yeah.
So yeah, even if we just saw something like that had that brutality to it added on top of the existing, but no.
Yeah. And then we must see a Primarch in Saturnine Terminator armor. We must see a resculpt of the Lord of Iron, of Jakate Khan. Yes, absolutely, of Jakate Khan in this.
Yeah, surely he's the most suited.
He's the obvious candidate. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's wild speculation time, Miles. We've done wild speculation.
Heresy 3 I'd be, if we got nothing else, Saturnine armor. I mean, as far as like rules go, are you hoping for like a full overhaul of the rules, or do you think it just needs slight tweaks?
Do you know that actually that's a really hard question. I've got to a point where I do enjoy Heresy 2, but I think it's got glaring flaws. Do you know, like, I say you've got to a point. I at the very start of the edition, I was going in and out of enjoying it. Where the point we are now, I am consistently enjoying Heresy 2, but our group sort of got to a level that's like, we can't just take anything. We know we're toning down lists.
Yeah.
Rather than just rocking up with just whatever we want.
Sure.
And so I'd like to see that. So it's like army balance stuff that I think mostly needs changing. More so than...
So like your internal ecosystem balanced it out for you rather than addressing some of the more...
Yeah, because so say Heresy 1, I very much found I could write a list 10 minutes before the game, including pretty much anything that I wanted. And if it was really good list, my opponent still had a chance. If it was a really bad list, I still had a chance to win if I played well. I find Heresy 2 more unforgiving than Heresy 1 on stuff on like difference of armies. If there's a slight imbalance, it sort of, the ball really rolls with it. So I would like that to be changed. So that I can take like a tactical company and it works. Oh my God, it works. Or bring back militia. Make militia great again.
Make militia great again, yeah. Or, okay, so wild speculation for the box set then. My ideal scenario, this is what I'd love to see. Saturnine Terminators, obviously.
Yeah.
Marines, because how could you not have a Heresy box set without Marines? But I hope that they're up against a non-Astartes faction. I would love to see them against Dark Mechanicum.
Oh.
Never gonna happen. But I would love to see that. That would be my dream come true.
Yeah, that's a fairly wild prediction, to be honest.
Yeah.
I see. I'd love that, or even Solar. So it was a more normal part of the game that everyone had these Solar contingents.
In fact, how about Solar versus Dark Mechanicum? New Heresy box set.
Not
Marines. A single Space Marine in there.
No, do you know what? It'd be fucking brilliant. Massive Solar army, Dark Mechanicum, like 2 units, like maybe like a Walker, some Thalax, Magos, and just a single Marine that was like, here is your Praetor level dude that is going to command all these Solar or militia.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's make it happen. Games Workshop, you would be fools not to follow through on the idea to have a launch box for Horus Heresy with but a single Space Marine in there.
But it could be like the best posed Space Marine. Make a plastic Abaddon. It could be like plastic Abaddon or plastic Malagurst.
Or how about a plastic Emperor miniature?
Heard it here first.
Yeah,
we're so good at rumours.
Breaking new Heresy box set coming out next year. Winter, so we're going to get it this time in time for the new Harry Potter film. We're going to get Militia, Dark Mechanicum, and an Emperor sculpt in plastic. Here. Oh, and he's in Saturnine Terminator armor. That's the rumor. Yes.
The Emperor
is in
Saturnine Terminator armor.
The Emperor in Saturnine armor.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll ever see rules for the Emperor?
Yeah, I think so. Eventually, they're bound to make a miniature.
I suppose they did Horus Ascended, didn't they? So.
Yeah, and so years ago, I was talking to Anoush, and he said some of the kicking around a few ideas for the Emperor, that he'd have like human stats, baseline stats, very uninspiring, but it'd be the abilities and the psychic powers overlaying one on top of another that would boost him up in power level.
Yeah.
Whether we'll see that or not is no idea. Yeah, I think we will see him eventually.
It'd be cool. I heard this rumor that would be how it would be treated, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah,
things changed. This was a conversation they had in the studio, just kicking stuff around, It could easily change massively since then. I cannot wait for next year to have the new Heresy box set, a plastic Imperator Titan for Titanicus, and a plastic Emperor model in Saturn Terminator armor. It's going to be lit.
Shall we move on to something that isn't wild speculation?
Yes. Do you want to talk about a new Kickstarter?
Yeah, let's talk about new Kickstarter, which we're going to skim over. Because
so
we
don't know a tremendous amount about this, and we are called Hobby Hammer, but yet we only seem to talk about Games Workshop products. And in that, we only really seem to talk about Horus Heresy. So we are very aware. But we did want to bring some kind of attention to this new Kickstarter, Trench Crusade. Neither Max and I are particularly well versed in the universe. I've had this very background fuzzy noise of this world, and I've always considered it sort of like edgelordy stuff. But actually looking into it and seeing the mod. Just going through the creators involved in this. Scroll right down to the bottom of the page. We have, oh my God, there's so much of it. Scroll. Oh, I really hope
Miles. This isn't going to come off. But it's something that I've looked a little bit. It's Thomas Prininen, isn't it? He's
done the rules for it. The guy who did, he has his game designer with 30 years of experience, creative, more time. It should stop there. You don't need anything else on your CV. He's the creator of More Time, Warhammer 6th edition. He worked on Realms of Chaos. He worked on so many different, in the good days of Games Workshop when they did Heresy Thursdays. And you have, I'm awfully sorry, I'm going to butcher your name here, Mike Francina? I'm awfully sorry, Frank. Concept artist for Blizzard, Amazon, Fat Shark, Grinding Gear, and the creator of Trench Crusade. So he's the fountainhead of this entire thing. And then you have sculptors like James Sheriff of Brass Monkey. You have a whole host of phenomenal sculptors. But Wilfred Armstrong. Yeah, you're there. Chris Cleve, you have great miniature painters, Martin Gandarby. I'm so sorry.
Well, luckily his name's just flashed up on the screen because I've been playing the video at the top, Miles. So it's just
Seb Levine. This feels like a project that has been nurtured in the community, that has gone out, has got people involved. Both at the amateur level and the professional level, and they've created they've struck a chord. They've really struck a chord with the style, the implementation, and you can really tell this because it's reached over $1 million already with 11 days to go. And it feels like a very modern interpretation of a war game where they are producing a physical book full of art from people like John Blanche. I mean, Jesus Christ, the names are just rolling off the tongue here. You have a small amount of factions produced by 3D sculptors, and you not only have the chance to buy physical copies of the sculpts, but the STLs for them as well. So you can print them out yourself. And we've gone through a very brief overview of this, just a blinkered snapshot of this. But the design, the philosophy, the implementation of this, the designers want this world to take off. So they're giving you the tools to then feed your own creativity. You can use models from different ranges and bring them into this world. You can use the official ones. You can use the official ones and cut them up and make new things. It's a community-based project with a overlay of outrageous talent. And it feels authentic. It feels... Sorry, I'm not in any way associated by these people.
We just wanted to talk for a small amount of time.
Yeah, I've given a sales pitch for it. No, I've been reading other supplements, and I haven't been in the best of moods with the level of production involved with them, and this feels like a bit like an antidote to that or a tonic to that, where you can see the enthusiasm boiling through. Now, I have seen that okay, some of the model ranges don't quite line up, or there might be something, people don't like the sculpts, or perhaps there's no unified design philosophy behind it. But when you look at an orc and when you look at an elder, can you tell me the linked design philosophy behind them? Maybe not. It's nice to see a community-led project with so much enthusiasm behind it get this kind of recognition and upswell of backing.
Yeah, well, so I think for one, the different look of the models. Necromunda, those factions, because it's a sort of warband scale game by the looks of it.
Yeah.
With those factions within Necromunda, say, I know you said don't talk about Games Workshop stuff, Miles. I couldn't help drawing it back to a point of comparison. Yeah. They've got vastly different aesthetics, and they're unified by the overall setting. So I think so long as you have that sort of grimdark vibe that they're going for within Trench Crusade in the models, and that comes out, say, in painting, basing, the look of the tables, that's going to be a good unifying aspect. Like, a lot of the time, say, when people come on my channel, Barefoot Miniatures, gaming channel,
go over there, like, subscribe.
But yeah, when they come on, I'm not scared about having people on that have got counts as models. And say, like, I had a Beastman on recently that was entirely counts as models from all over, but because the paint scheme was fairly unified, you could have these vastly different models and play like a game that felt still very Warhammer. That was all like his army was entirely 3D printed, and it still fit really well. So I don't see why there couldn't be other unifying aspects in the exact aesthetic of the sculpt. Which, because I think they're all really characterful, personally.
Yeah, me too. I'm just okay. So if you have to pick a warband, which one would you go for?
Me.
Yeah.
Initially, I've been looking at the like Cawdor-esque guys.
Trench Pilgrims.
Either that or New Antioch.
Those are the ones I like the look of. Yeah. No, this is the next process we're going through. Like, mentally, we're carving this up. We are
Who
starting
gets to
think
play
like,
what?
Ooh, 2025 is coming up. Ooh, new project time. But
is this going to be it? Fuck Heresy 3. We're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, the box set looks terrible for Heresy 3. There's no Space Marines in there. I'm thinking. I'm thinking this is the way to go. Yeah.
I'm up for that. And it's not going to be, Miles, a pump and dump project that you keep catching me on, like Badab, where I've got a Badab army sat there and you just painted a Lamenter. No, we're going to do this.
Follow through.
Yeah. Well, actually, a couple of people within like the gaming group that I play with, Henry and Matt, for anyone that watched the channel, have already backed this Kickstarter, and I'm going to back it. So I'm definitely going to be playing it. I'm definitely going to be playing it at least a small number of times if it's a terrible game, and a lot if it's if it's a really good game.
If it's amazing,
and it's got it has the backing behind it, the minds behind it, to be a very good game.
Yeah, same. Yeah, okay. That's our brief snapshot. We will be looking into this in much more detail, and we will be bringing you ongoing coverage of this once we get our hands on the STL, or perhaps we could reach out to some of the creators and maybe get them on. That'd be cool if we get them on for an interview. But yeah, 2025, I think this will be our shared project. That'd be cool. Yeah. And you know what? There's only like 7 miniatures you need to paint for a warband. You don't have to paint like an army or anything bigger. And you can print them out yourself if you buy into the STLs. I really appreciate you get a physical book, because I like digital products, but I much prefer holding like a book in my hand.
Right, shall we move on to the main meat?
Yes.
Right, so the next segment we've got has been chosen by Miles, and what it's going to be is which is the best Dreadnought.
Yeah, this is spurned on through a YouTube comment. So last week, I posted up a video on social media. What is your favorite Dreadnought? casting no judgment, just asking the community, what is your favorite? Oh boy, was that a mistake. I had a lot of comments, and I think it's a sign of the health of a channel and the growth of a channel that you get comments like this more. So this is from at WowDis. Hello, WowDis. Obviously a noob if you don't have any Rogue Trader era egg notes.
Because you've not included on the video.
Yeah, to which I reply, what's Rogue Trader? So that comment has spawned this entire video, where we'll be discussing the various chassis, what we think about them, and then decide unequivocally Hobby Hammer's #1 Dreadnought chassis at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So I guess it'd be a good idea to start where at WhoDis has suggested at the genesis of the Dreadnought chassis, the Eggnought.
Yeah. Well, I'd just like to get it on record before we go through the Dreadnoughts that when we debated clear stem bases versus black stem bases,
yeah,
Miles revised his opinion 2 weeks later. So just getting it in there.
Yeah, I hated myself for it, and I hated you more for it, for changing my mind. But no, this is unequivocally, I know my own mind. I'm not backtracking. I will say what I feel and feel what I say.
I'd be very surprised if we didn't agree at the end, actually. I'd be very surprised.
And we haven't talked about this beforehand as well.
No, specifically not. Specifically not.
Yes. I'd be very surprised if we don't agree by the end as well. It'll dovetail inevitably. But the Eggnought, the Rogue Trader era Eggnought, I think we can both agree it's a pretty fugly looking thing by the comparisons of today's standards of sculpting. Not great, but as we've talked about with the Saturnine armor, if you've just jumped in this segment, well, hello. But we talked about earlier in the episode, the reason and the compulsion and the love behind some miniatures isn't always like a logical thing. It could be that emotion you felt when you were a kid looking at this miniature, thinking, "Oh, I wish I owned one of those." Even with a great paint job on this by Angry Griffin, I don't think this is a very good miniature.
Yeah, but what I do like about it is sick teeth, sick grill, and shades. Like even like Ultramarine still rocking the shades. Like real bright green. It's as you say, it's a fugly model, and like
it's a product the paint of its
job
time.
Makes it fun though. The paint job.
It's like your racist uncle. They're a product of their time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
this guy would have some very troublesome views on immigration. Let's just leave it at that.
I feel like you want to press into that further, but yeah. So what we're going to do is go along and use both members of the community's Dreadnoughts as well as our own to like maybe illustrate some points and talk about the various Dreadnoughts. Next, we've got the precursor to the Hellbrute, essentially, which is the Chaos version of the Eggnought.
Yeah.
I think this, when we said the Eggnought is fugly, I think this is one of the worst models of all time. Do you know what? Let's not go down that rabbit hole. But
no, no. It's. I can see what they were going for. Again, like the entire Chaos range at this time really took their cues from Geiger-esque imagery, less so from sort of like Metallica album covers. And the shift occurred in the second edition Warhammer Chaos Codex. I've been looking up a lot about this stuff for the Black Legion project, putting a little document together for it. But early 80s, early 90s, I think before Jez Goodwin came on board and like revolutionized the look, they came a lot spiky, a lot more hard edges, bedecked with skulls. They were more naturalistic, flowing and warped like this. And you saw a return back to this design philosophy with the Hellbrute and the Dark Vengeance box set, where the Chaos Marine started to look much more like this and an amalgamation of the both. Worst miniature? I don't think I could call it that. Best miniature? Certainly not. I think it's a more interesting sculpt than the Imperial version, though. I prefer this over the Imperial version.
Oh, really? I prefer the cleaner armor lines. Like, I'm not actually a hater of the new Hellbrute, and I like what that aesthetic has resulted in, like further on.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I look at and go, oh, I like the aesthetic of this even over the original deck.
Yeah, but, you know what? I've been buying up a bunch of nostalgic miniatures recently. Some good deals on eBay at the moment. And I have had no compulsion to go back and buy either of these for a habitual buyer of old tat. That reminds me of my childhood. Yeah, that should probably say something.
Yeah. Well, even, like, I think we mentioned it the other time when we brought this up, is what is the dick about on this model?
The what? Is that northern term? Dick. What's the dick about?
Why has it got a dick on this model?
Oh, right. Okay. I thought it was like a northern phrase. I go, what's the dick about? Like,
no. Well, it's literally the dog racing with me whippet.
Yeah, but it's like, oh, what's the dog about? Like, oh, how are you doing today?
No. He just...
Yeah, what is that? It's sort of like a very aggressive Red Rocket dog penis.
Yeah, exactly. Well, right, let's move on from this. It
was a time of experimentation. What can you say?
Yeah. So the first... we're not going in chronological order this. We just thought we'd start on the real older ones. Now, the first picture we've got is Paint Servitor's Dreadnought, of which with the chains on the guns, stuff like that. Very boat shaped, the Dreadnought.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and
when this design came out, I couldn't make up my mind whether I liked it or not, and I still feel that way about the Dreadnought. It's a fun miniature to paint. It has a really, we talk about it, a nice brush feel underneath it. Oh, that could be on the merchandise as well, nice brush feel. But that could be a nice brush feel to it. It airbrushes well. You could do weathering on it. It's a nice big miniature. But I still don't know whether I like it or not.
I have mixed views on the Dreadnought. Like, it's sort of the same, where I can't quite decide. It is meant to look a bit derpy. I actually much prefer it with, like get straight into it now. I actually much prefer it with the Mad Cat style legs that people did using Sentinel legs.
Yep.
And actually, there's at the end of our row of pictures, I'll skip through them all. Somebody's done a 3D print if people want to search on like cults to have these editions of like Mad Cat style dog legs to them. I think it adds like dynamism to those legs, which even though we're looking at a model with quite a good paint job or quite a good paint job. Sorry, Seb, it's a really good paint job and character to it.
Bang average paint job.
No, it's a real good paint job. But yeah, the derpiness and staticness of the
derpiness comes from the legs. You're right. Is it Mad Cat or Mad Cap?
Mad Cat, because it's
Mad Cat.
Or Timberwolf, depending on whether you're clans or not.
Yeah, the Mad Cat design just elevates it so much, and it resembles more the Ed 209 from RoboCop, which automatically makes it like a million times cooler. That scene. Can we cut to that scene right now where he's just blasting away at that guy and still keep the video monetized?
No,
probably not.
Sadly not.
It's a wicked scene. Kids, go watch that scene. Go on YouTube. It's on there. It's like 12 full seconds of this executive just getting blasted by a machine gun. It's awesome.
So next, let's go to Company of Bitter Irons, Dreadnought. Sorry, Dreadnought, Leviathan.
Oopsie daisy. Yeah.
Where we've got Storm Cannon Claw with chains wrapped round, and I think the Leviathan chassis particularly favours additions such as like chains or even that stripe that is. I've not seen actual stripe put there before, but
Same.
the actual chassis has these really nice locations to put features, detail, stuff like that.
Yeah, and Company of the Bitter Iron, his style is very desaturated and it's very nuanced, his style. I think on some of the smaller miniatures like Marines, it's so easy to kind of like overlook his artistry, but the bigger the canvas, the more you can do with it, and that's where you get like this grimdark, this more desaturated, subtle, realistic style of miniature painting really comes to the fore. And like you say, it gives you a canvas, a greater canvas to start building things on top of it, like individual wise. As far as like conversions go, it's this and the Contemptor you see by far and away are the most popular chassis that you see everywhere, and they're the ones that get converted the most.
Yeah, well, do you want to go through conversions, or should we go through people's works and then? I know we've got a few at the end.
I think go through people's works, because I think we have Pawn of Morkai next.
Yeah, we've got Pawn of Morkai next.
Yeah.
Again with the Leviathan, a really nice pose, because there's a lot of static Leviathan poses and Contemptor poses that you can just fall into this sort of trap of having them very like 2 guns forward, like a mech, like a really static mech. But no, it's got nice dynamism and sort of captures the fact that it's a human inside here that's brain is being fooled into it's still operating like a human with arms and legs.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's part of the reason why Dreadnoughts have heads. It's to fool the mind into well, not going crazy, basically. Because as human beings, this is how we perceive the world, head looking around. So if you transfer this into a machine, there's a chance that the person can go crazy inside. And that's the reason why they have helmets, as opposed to the Castaferum class, which has a coffin on the front. But we'll get to that. Yeah, Pawn of Morkai. Again, nice desaturated style, very heresy in nature. He's used just a small uplift in the hero. What's it called? The hero rock? The
tactical rock.
The tactical rock. Yeah, he's very good use of the tactical rock to have his miniature moving forward in a slightly more dynamic way. Now you do get a lot of badly posed dreadnoughts. I think we had a disagreement about this on the last episode, that you're more in favor of dynamically moving, like running, pacing, sprinting dreadnoughts, but I'm a big fan of them being slightly more statically posed. Even if they have forward momentum, I still want to generate that sense of weight when they're moving forward.
Oh, you're misrepresenting me with sprinting.
Oh, sorry.
Not
represent
sprinting.
Yourself. So I am putting words in your mouth.
I sort of see them as able to do these elongated poses. Maybe not like sprinting, but like certainly like a run or a jog level of movement within the chassis. So, yeah, it's just how you view them, isn't it? Rather than anything that I think is even, because there's such a wide range of how they're represented in the lore of like what is actually possible from a dreadnought to how they move and stuff. Yeah, just open
we got Contemptor. We have a Contemptor dreadnought that comes in via the sky. So if you did want a dynamically posed dreadnought, that's probably the way to go.
What is in the Incendious
dreadnought? Yeah, the Blood Angels.
Well, shall we move on to a Contemptor pattern?
Segue, no?
Yeah. Right, so the first Contemptor style chassis we've decided to go for the base and then branch out into the Incendious. We've got Miles. I've flashed up yours. You're getting some marketing. We've got Miles' Sons of Horus Contemptor.
Yeah, learn how to paint this model on the Patreon. Sign up today for only $7. It's this whole project revolved around Istvan 3, and the great thing about early Heresy miniatures is the scene and the stories you could tell with the diorama piece they produced. And I wanted to do that in this scene. So the Marine on the base, he's reaching out for a melter charge. And I guess the idea behind this piece is, can he grab that and take out the Dreadnought before he's crushed to death?
Yeah, and I think that's because of like the Dreadnoughts of this, like obviously Contemptors and Leviathans and stuff, because they're very human. That's an odd thing to say. They're more human in how they look than like the Eggnaughts, Castaferums. When we get to Castaferums, it allows that storytelling much more.
Yeah,
I think just because your mind immediately sort of like fills it into being more humanoid than.
And you have more of the ability of to pose it as well, as opposed to something like the Castaferum, where the models didn't lead themselves very easily to posability. Like, all the joints are separate on this. There are so many different things a modeler can do with this chassis. The posability, the ability to magnetize weapons on it. It's more of a blank canvas than the Leviathan. It's not as overwhelming as a project as a Leviathan is. And the great thing, Forge World produced a shed load of different versions of this, where unfortunately you can only buy the bodies for them now.
Yeah. Well, shall we go into the special versions?
Yeah.
So, first, we've got Harpoons that we're going to flick through as just a nice example.
Yes.
Of a standard.
We're trying to find examples of just great looking Dreadnoughts, and Harpoons just jumped out immediately. And I have to say, if you're not covered on this, I'm awfully sorry. There's just so many Contemptors, so many great modelists out there. Yeah. It's not that we're overlooking you at all. It's just there's only so much hours in the day to cover all this. But Harpoon, I felt deserved a even more special shout out. And the red and white scheme is especially on my mind because of a big commission for this type of World Eaters in the red and white. But yeah, Max.
Yeah, Incendious. Incendious.
Yeah,
you've got yours.
Incendious. The flying dynamic Dreadnought. So I wanted to give the impression that it did have a slight amount of movement. So he's like almost like in a superhero pose, where he looks like he's just moving around to slash something out of the way, as opposed to Harpoons, which is much more domineering and almost like bear-like, standing over the ruins of another Dreadnought. So there's so many different things you could do with this Dreadnought, so many different stories, so many different styles to create with this piece.
Yeah. Next, we've got the Osiran Dreadnought. Actually, I think this is a really nice example. It's using the Custodes I'm going to say Guardian Spear, but it's not a Guardian Spear, is it?
Yeah.
It's a specific type of Dreadnoughty spear. But just a really nice example instead of that Khopesh blade that they usually have on Full Circle Hobbies. Thousand Sun Psychic Osiran. And again, he's on more of a stride forwards than a super fast sprinting Contemptor that Miles hates. But it's just a really nice example. Hates, refuses.
Misquoting me, mischaracterizing me again.
Yeah, I'm going to you mischaracterize me saying that I could get them to sprint. But finally, we've got Oath Shields, like very heavily converted Ulrak Brantham, and I think it shows the level of detail that you can go into with these.
Yeah, now Max, who is this character?
This is the Shattered Legion's commander of the Sisypheum, I believe, that appears in a bunch of Shattered Legion's novels, as well as like Angel Exterminatus. He appears in the Solar War series, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. Yeah. The final flight to the Sisypheum.
Yeah. And basically the slow decay of the guy's body not been able to fuse with like a Dreadnought properly, and this has just been done as like sort of battlefield style, like ram him into a Contemptor.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really nice example of, do you know, all the cables and greeblies adding to that grimdark aesthetic, and fits the universe really well, especially with this atmospheric photography.
I mean, it fits as well. It all goes together well. Yeah, this is. I often think, like, why do Space Marines wear bionics so openly? Why don't they put ceramite over the top of them? I think it was ADB explained that sometimes the machine spirit of the armor just rejects the implant, and at other times it is just a battlefield workaround that they haven't got the time to either find the gauntlet, or replace it. So if you have a severed arm, you go through basic sutures, bang, you get a mechanical hand whomped on you. You could carry on fighting.
Back to the front line.
And this, yes, it very much feeds into the storyline of the Shattered Legions, where they are just limping by, trying to get to Terra, trying to find refuge, or trying to enact some final revenge upon the traitors. Yeah, great work, Shield.
Well, shall we next, so we don't get too far out of order, even though we've gone wild with it, do a couple of Castaferans? So we're on Castaferan Dreadnoughts, and you'll see method to madness of why we left them till now in in a couple of minutes. So the first one, Miles, this is your eBay not rescue, because it's very close to a good second edition paint job.
I've been buying a bunch of second edition stuff recently, and I've had kind of a job lot of Old Blood Angels, and I want to produce one of those eBay rescue style videos, but it feels like such a disservice to the paint job to call this like a rescue, like, oh, this guy messed up so much, it'll take a professional to save it. When I quite like the paint job on this, it's obvious, like, he painted it when he was a kid. And if for a kid's paint job, we need to do all the barrels. It's a very good paint job, but yeah, it's a paint job of the time. It weighs a ton, big, blocky, chunky. Now, when I hear the word Dreadnought, I think of this. I think of this pattern of Dreadnought, and the Forge World versions are some of the best Dreadnought sculpts in the range, including Contemptors.
Yeah, well, it's a shame that you can't get, say, like, the Iron Warriors one was really good, or even the Night Lords one that Chaos had in 3rd edition, where it had, like, sort of the Batwing claw. But the one that I think of, Miles, is the Bjorn the Fell-Handed.
Iconic. When you talk about iconic miniatures in the Citadel lineup, this is one of them.
Yeah, especially with that banner, and because it was from the time that you used to get big back banners on everything, and Dreadnoughts were no exception. And I need to start putting back banners on my Dreadnoughts. It was so cool. It was so cool for just a little bit of paper.
And you could print something out for yourself, like on a piece of paper, and you print. It doesn't need to be like a very hard thing for you to do. Yeah, it is a gorgeous, and you got the wolf pelts on it. You got the paint scheme. When you look at that as a kid, knowing nothing about the world, you just think, that's cool. I want to be involved in whatever that guy is doing.
Yeah, no, actually, the more I'm getting nostalgic about the Castaferan, potentially...
Don't change your mind.
Potentially we will end up arguing about which one the best one is.
Oh, no, don't do the hipster choice.
Maybe.
Don't do the hipster choice.
The real hipster choice, after seeing this Dino Miniatures' Primaris Dreadnought, would be to choose that, because it's a really good conversion of... I think it's even an updated Beyond the Fell-Handed, but it was a... Because obviously neither of us are massively into current 40k and keeping up with it. We've got limited knowledge on the new Dreadnought chassis. But it's a real... I think he's a real good example to make me at least a bit interested in the aesthetic. And it has knees, so it can run, Miles. It can run, not just...
It can run, yeah. I think the problem, since we moved on to the Primaris, the problem with the Primaris is that it's so ludicrously big that, I mean, I'm looking at one now, it's just so overwhelmingly big. If they scaled it down maybe to like 90% of the current sculpt, it would feel more in context with the rest of the game, even Primaris-sized. But a very minor gripe there. It's a worthy update to the Castaferum.
Yeah.
it looks like it can actually move now. It has knees. And when you see it in action in Space Marine 2, you fall in love with Dreadnought. Like the amount of views that I've had through my Instagram this past month on purely my Dreadnought stuff has been mind-blowing.
What, you reckon it comes from, like, people seeing it on
100%. Yeah. So, like on average, peeking behind the window, my account gets somewhere in the average between 250 to 300k views per month, and that's averaged out. So per week, it averaged out of that. This month, it got 1.1 million.
Oh, really?
I'd like to think it's because my artistry is finally being adored by the masses, but no, it's outside factors beyond my control. So whenever Heresy gets a new edition, I get an uptick on the Patreon purely because like I'm the Heresy dude, I'm the Heresy painter guy. So you get up. So it's nothing to really what I'm doing. It's market factors that surround and control me. Depressing.
Well, from a depressing point, let's move back onto something else. So next we've got Uplander's Redemptor Dreadnought that you've pointed out, Miles, as a good example to show off.
Yeah, I mean, all of Uplander's works. Oh God, this is going to sound... I think that the painting scene around the Heresy is a lot more developed than other communities. Like Necromunda, I love watching the Necromunda stuff. Necromunda scenery, really high up there. I haven't seen too many accounts with AOS that really draw me on a consistent basis. And unfortunately, it's the same with 40k. It can be a little bit hit or miss out there. But Uplander does a lot of work very consistently to a very high standard. And watching the development of the Space Wolf army over the past couple of years has just been a joy. And when I look for Primaris versions of Space Marines, it's always one of the accounts I go to first. And I just wanted to highlight Pete. Love the army, love these Space Wolves. Hope, like we are going to do it, like hopefully there could be more of a community around 40k modeling and we can enjoy it more, but I'm not leading the charge on that.
Well, I'd just like to point out at this point, the last 3 Dreadnoughts that we've pointed out, 2 for, I suppose the last 3 for 40k, have all been Space Wolves.
Yeah.
Apparently we're secret Space Wolf lovers.
Space Wolf meta, yeah, secret furries.
Yeah. So still on 40k, just before we get back to the Heresy, we've got Stoffer's Warhammer, who has got this Black Legion Leviathan.
Yeah. This is a much underused resource, I feel, for 40k modelers. And it's something I've been mining relentlessly this past year, converting older units into 40k. Because unlike the Loyalist Legions, they get all the cool grav tanks, they get the Primaris, they get the Primaris-sized vehicles. No, we got the old stuff. We've got the OG stuff. We've got the stuff that you haven't got ammunition or coolant for anymore, so you stick a demon in there and it seems to work. So it's nice seeing classic kits like the Leviathan based in 30k and updated, modernized, and warped in 40k. And he's done such a good job. He's done such a good job of this. And dealing with a lot of black is difficult, as en masse. So having that hit of pink there really does elevate it. Yeah, really, really good work. Yeah, love this. Good inspiration fodder.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? We've been coming back. I think we're reaching near a conclusion of the show, because we've been coming back again and again to certain chassis. So, and that is the Leviathan chassis. So up on screen, we debated not putting in your Leviathan because you're known as like, show us your Leviathan, that Leviathan guy. But
sorry, I've just put a cookie in my mouth.
I like to start recording when you've just done things that means that you can't speak.
Okay, sorry. Yes. Yeah, the Leviathan. It feels a little bit pompous or self-referential. It feels like I'm congratulating myself. Whenever I post this thing up, I guess it's the thing I'm most known for painting, and I get a lot of compliments on it, and thank you so much if you have compliment. But I also think there's that niggling thought at the back of my head, like, I've done other stuff since then. Why aren't you congratulating me on my 90s Goliath gang I've just painted, bro? Why not do that? Like, I've edge highlighted that miniature really well a couple of weeks ago. Why didn't you say anything about that? But no.
I really hope
the
lampshading
the Leviathan Dreadnought, it gives you a much bigger platform to do this kind of stuff on. And I'm a big believer with freehand of it not looking like graffiti. You'll see excellent freehand that completely disregards the lines of a miniature and lines of a sculpt. And I wanted a pattern that kept the missiles in place, because a lot of people, they cover over that and then put a decal or freehand on top, which is absolutely fine. I've done it before in the past, but I hit upon this Byzantine art. I cannot remember where I saw it, but I printed it out, translated it onto the miniature, and thus an angel was born.
Well, because you've just lampshaded this fact that you have that slight niggling doubt in the back of your mind, I really hope that for the rest of time, people now specifically only comment on your Leviathan Dreadnought on every Instagram post you ever do. So, like, oh, cool Necromunda models. What about the Leviathan Dreadnought? Show us more of that. But
you painted that nicely like 7 years ago. Yeah. Have you done anything since? I get messages every now and again. Like, do you still do commission work? What? No. Have I fallen so far out of people's consciousness and the zeitgeist that people are asking me, like, are you still in business anymore, bro?
Good.
Oh, God.
Good.
I painted that Dreadnought like 7 years. Remember that? Yeah, great Dreadnought.
Well, I remember it, actually. That was at the third weekender I went to.
Yeah.
So I actually remember the Dreadnought being in the cabinets and being like, oh, he's not too good. So,
okay, yeah.
On to my Leviathans then. We've got Diogenes, who is my Leviathan Dreadnought with like classic conversion of Iron Circle Shield and Hammer, as well as like a Sentinel leg for the servo arm, like, which has like bits of orc bits on to make the actual claw in scale. And like I think I did this just as the Iron Circle came out. Obviously I couldn't have done it before then, but it was like right at the start of the Iron Circle coming out. And the first thing that came to my mind was to make this. And then second, I've got my big banner Leviathan that just came. If I did it again, I'd definitely do it from something like a tomato tube or something lighter weight. Maybe not a tomato tube, but something that was lighter weight. This was a big roll of
another cool thing you can use is the plastic that comes in character packaging, like the clam packaging. Yeah. You can cut that out and then heat it up with a heat gun or a hairdryer, and you can use that as the material.
Yeah. So I've been doing banners out of just plastic art and heating them up with a lighter that works quite successfully.
Yeah.
But and I've been using that
I think we should return back to the days where we're doing it just on paper.
I tried.
Just paper.
I tried. It clashes too much with how much effort we all put in.
glue. Let's return back to the source, back to the real way to do it. Just cover everything in paper.
Right, well, you do that and let me know how it gets on, Miles.
I will.
Yeah.
Video coming to the Patreon soon.
Good. So we've covered the Dreadnought chassis. We've not covered the Hellbrute or anything, but we're not going to. So what chassis? What chassis do you think is best? Do we both count down and then name it on 3? Or...
Do you have a piece of paper nearby? Write it down.
I can get one.
Yeah, do it.
So, me and Miles have got this game of chicken now, having both got our pieces of paper. Do we go? Because I think I know what you're going to go for, but do I then change my answer just to appear cooler than Miles?
This is rock, paper, scissors. Because we both know what the answer is. We both know what the answer should be.
I think so, yeah.
But are we going to go for the hipster choice? Have we written down the hipster choice here? Have we veered off to the left? Or have we gone to the other way where it could be a possible viable winner? Now, okay, this will tell us a lot about personalities or whether it's going to clash or whether it's going to come together.
3.
Okay, and people at home, before you do this, before we reveal the answer, type it down. Stop, type it down, and like and subscribe and hit the bell and share it with your friends and family. Okay, ready, Max?
Yeah, 3, 2, 1. You went box. Oh, Miles went to the left. We all know that Leviathan is the best. Miles appears the coolest, though, because he's written the hipster answer.
I have given the hipster answer, yes.
Right, okay, so Miles, why have you chosen the box knot? Because surely...
Well, when we think of Jungian archetypes...
yeah, is that what we're going for?
We shut up. We, as a species, we have certain images that are indelibly linked. If the fall of Troy was never documented, in people's consciousness, it would arise again and people would tell that story anyway. When we think of the Dreadnought, at its quintessential base archetypal level, in the subconscious, it is the box knot.
Have you just had ChatGPT write that for you? Is that why we had to cut for a second?
No, I couldn't remember who came up with the theory of archetypes. I couldn't remember the name Jung. That's why we had to stop. I thought, if I'm giving this really answer, I'd at least get Jung right.
Yeah.
No, okay. Serious answer. It's something to do with my childhood, right? It's to do with the nostalgia element. When I think of a Dreadnought, that's the first thing that pops into my head. And I can't really escape that image of... And the coolness factor, when you're a kid watching a Dreadnought or in your imagination stomp around and blow stuff up. And there's a reason why so many Castaferum Dreadnoughts made their way into the Heresy before they discontinued that miniature. Like a lot of the Heresy range, I think all it needs, not a complete redesign like they've done with the Redemptor, like they've done with the Primaris. It just needs to be slightly embiggened. It just needs to be slightly larger. The base design is fine. It's in the grandest tradition of Warhammer. It's big, it's boxy, it looks like a fist. It looks like it can't really do anything, like practically, but it is so quintessentially Warhammer. It is the walking coffin. And for those reasons, that is my personal
Is it
favorite.
your genuine personal favorite?
It was between this and the Contemptor.
Really? Because I thought we were both going to agree on Leviathan. I genuinely, when I said before, because it's got so much potential, and the Contemptor's sort of like pear-shaped body. It just doesn't have the flow and the different things that you... Like a lot of the pictures that we had up, that we both sent to each other and chosen, we just relentlessly were sending each other Leviathan images, it seems. And even the things that we've poured, like me converting stuff into, or the banner, or your freehand on the Leviathan you're known for. I think you were tricking yourself in this...
Maybe... Okay, so
that
partially
is better than Leviathan.
So my answer is the box knot, is the Castaferum, but I think the right answer is the Contemptor. It's a very close run thing between the Leviathan and the Contemptor. I think everything you're saying for the Leviathan can be applied to the Contemptor as well, where it gives you more of an open space. It gives you a canvas to work on, to embellish and create your own personality. And okay, weirdly, being a commissioned artist, I can kind of like play the number game here. I've had far more commissions for Contemptors than I have Leviathans or Deradios or any other. So like if I want to reduce it down like that to a pure numbers game in popularity, it would be the Contemptor.
Do you want me to tell you why you see lots of Contemptors, Miles?
Why?
It's because they're 135 points and have a brutal 3 fist.
Yeah,
like,
partially... Partially it is that. Okay, so the gaming aspect of it, they are much more ubiquitous in game. The Leviathan is more costly, and I think it's, apart from it being in resin, why you don't see more Thunderhawks used in game. If they were reduced in points, if they had better rules, I think you'd be seeing a lot more Thunderhawks, and we'd be seeing a lot. I think partly the reason why I see so many Contemptors, why I paint so many is because of that reason, the gaming aspect of it as well.
Yeah. Well, I think I need to go and do something else because we're just...
Final point as well. I think that the Contemptor isn't as daunting of a modelling challenge as the Leviathan is.
Really?
It feels like, okay, you can go and pick up like a pre-made chassis, four-draw chassis. You could put that on your Contemptor and also have an automatically awesome vehicle. Whereas the Leviathan, they've had so much great artistry applied to them when you look online. I think it's a bit like dealing with a Spartan. It's a bit more of a challenge as a modeling opportunity. So I think there is extra baggage attached to the Leviathan whenever you come to paint them. Not much, but like we're judging by fine degrees here between that and the Contemptor.
We'll agree to disagree.
I can't be mad at your choice. I'm not like, you didn't say the Dreadnought, for example. You're not being completely blinded by nostalgia.
well, Miles, I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm done. I'm sort of done I can't stand you anymore this week.
Right,
so
cool.
Cheers for coming, everyone.
You sound just like my wife. Okay.
I think that's us done. Maybe see you next week, maybe not.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Right. Okay. Thanks for watching while it lasted, guys.